Hiya, welcome back to the channel. Today, what am I doing? Well, a while ago, I mean it is a while ago now because, well, I've been meaning to do this for a while, but it's nothing but piss it down for weeks. But there is an obvious sort of one of them, which could do with some improvement. Did some welding a bit ago for the MOT, and that is the welding. So if anyone watched the video where I did the welding, the reason why it failed here was because there is a previous repair, and if you can see that there is a bit of a skim of filler already, which I've cut through to weld it. This video is going to be trying to tidy this up a little bit. I'm not going to call it a tutorial because I am in no way sort of experienced or good enough or qualified enough at any kind of bodywork to tell someone else how to do it. So this is probably just going to be a video of me fucking up some bodywork. So where are we at the moment? Anyway, right, as I said, did some welding for MOT. So this is metal plate which has been welded in, and on there it's just been painted with a bit of Dinitrol, which, to be honest with you, considering that it's done nothing but piss it down completely for weeks, and I reckon this was like over a month ago I did this, it's fared up pretty well from stopping the rust coming back through for now. But it looks a bit of a shitter, as is blatantly obvious there. The further away you go, the less shit it looks, which will be similar, you know, once I've done the job as well. So what am I going to do? Well, I've got some body filler there. I've also got my tripod, kindly donated by Craig from DHR Coaches, and I'm gonna try and make that look like shit. And as you can see, I have got the car ready, prepped on a ramp just to lift it up a little bit. Right, before I do anything, I need to put a little bit of a key on this for the filler that I'm going to put on so it sticks on a bit better. Might not need to do this, but I'm going to do it just because I feel like I should do it. So I'm just going to keep on doing this a little bit. Roughly till about now, that'll do. And this is body filler, purchased from MAS Car Spares in Shaw. Decent shop for stuff like this, actually, little bits and bobs like this. Right, this is the instructions that we're not going to bother looking at. Got to mix a golf ball of that to a pea of that, I think it is. I'll double check that. So yeah, golf ball of filler to a pea of hardener. So that's, I don't know, that's some filler, some more filler, some more filler, and then an amount of hardener. That's probably too much hardener. Let's put some more on. That's definitely enough hardener, I reckon. And then we need to mix it, which, you know, I'm just mixing shit. So, and then keep on mixing until you've got somewhat of a uniform colour. Now this is what it's all about to go disastrously wrong, no doubt, because this is not something I have any sort of skill or talent at. So anybody who does any bodywork will be finding many things wrong with what I'm doing now, I'm sure. I mean, tell me it's fine. I can take it. I know I can't do this shit. What the fuck up. keep on applying that until I've got it coated where I need it. And then you realise that you've put too much hardener in it and it goes off before you can apply it. Bodywork is one of them things that's sort of like, I don't know, I think you can either do it or you can't. And then this is where you sort of realise that you can't, if you may. But we're going to proceed anyway. And now that filler all went off, before I could actually, you know, finish where I was putting it, I'll have to make some more filler, which I've just shown already. It's what you can't see. I mean, you can see this Exhibit A monstrosity. What you can't see is I've got body filler all over my hands, all over my phone, all over everything, which is brilliant. I'm going to mix up some more filler, and I'm going to slap some more of the shit on there, and then we'll get to some sanding, which is the exciting bit. And it's really exciting because I haven't got a sanding block, so we'll just wing it for now. But I'm going to mix up some filler, and then I'll be back in a sec. Like so. As you can probably tell by the colour, it's got a little bit less hardener in it this time, so it might get a little bit longer to apply it before it fucks up. And now, as you can see, we have a nice coating of filler, nice and neat, and it's even dry. To make sure it didn't go off, I had to apply it really fast, as you've just witnessed. Anyway, I'm gonna make a start at sanding it down to something like the shape of the Sill, and I'm gonna try some of this stuff now. This is actually for plumbing. It's for cleaning pipes up when you're putting pipe fittings together, but it's decent because it's quite aggressive and it doesn't clog up. So as like a starting point, it might work. We're about to find out. I haven't got a sanding block, so it's probably going to be, well, it's going to be as professional as ever. And after approximately 23 seconds of sanding, we have something that looks a little bit better. If you want to be picky, it's not exactly straight. You know, it's not quite straight. I'm hoping that it's low enough down on the car, so I'm not really going to notice anything like that. As I said, I haven't got a sanding block, which isn't helping, and I don't have a clue what I'm doing, which also isn't helping. What I am going to have to do though is I'm going to have to give this, I think, yeah, I am going to have to give it another thin skim of filler, which I'm not going to film that. I'm going to put a nice thin skim of filler on it and then give it a final sand, which I'll come back once I've applied that extra layer of filler. Something like this. And if you're anything like me, there might even be a point where you completely lose the plot and start applying it with your finger. I'd recommend against doing that, but let's wait for that to go off and do some more sanding. Yay. And this is what I now have after another 25 seconds of sanding. So this has been sanded with, so it's not quite ready for primer yet. To be honest, it could do with another skim, but I'm fed up now. This, I don't even know what grade that is, but I've got some of the finest Asda's sandpaper. So I'm going to go down to, gradually up to 240s before I put some primer on. Probably still a bit coarse, but that's the finest I've got at the moment. So anyway, I'm going to give it a dose with 80s, and a dose with 120s, and a dose with 240s. And then I'm going to put some primer on. And then I'm going to leave it because it needs to dry. So that's where I'm going to get up to today. And then the rest, I'm not this video, I mean I want to finish the video, but for me now, it's going to be tomorrow. Before I can go beyond that point. Anyway, let's see what we can do before the fucking sun goes down. So first, let's give it a quick dose with some 80s. I'm not going to film all of this because it's not actually really going to show any difference on the camera. So I'll just come back when I've smoothed it down with the 240s, I think. So I'll give it a going over with the 80s and the 120s. The other way around. Now I'm going to give it a do with some 240s, as I've already said. So this now, still a bit coarse really. I mean, 320s are better, but this is just to put the primer on top of. So let's knock a bit more off with that. And I've sort of just about had enough to do with this now. So I'm going to try my luck putting some primer on, I think, which leads us to this. This is supposed to be the correct colour. There's some primer and there is some lacquer, and I bought this off eBay for 15 quid. So if it works, I'd say that's a bargain if it's any good, but we won't know if it is until we try it. Anyway, I've professionally masked that up without any masking paper at all. By way of I've used some masking tape to get the edge, and then I've just left the rest of the car dirty, so that if any paint sticks to it, I can just wash it off with the dirt. So this is the plan now. Is I'm going to use this paint, this primer, which is intelligent enough to avoid the bits I've not masked up that I don't want to get it on, and I'm going to try and give that a coat of primer. So let's see how that works out. After giving it a good tossing off for about 20 minutes or so, it should be ready to apply. So let's see how this goes. Now you're supposed to actually start spraying before you get onto the panel, but never said I was any good at this. I'm quite the opposite, in fact. And don't worry about the runs. I'm not worried about the runs. I'm more worried about trying to fill the holes up off the bits of filler where I've got pinholes in it. Well, let's just see how it dries. And apart from the various runs, it doesn't actually look too bad from a distance. So I'm going to let that dry, probably give it another coat of primer, and I'll proceed with this shortly. And there we go, we've just foot tapped a day into the future. Obviously, as you can see, there is some issues to address. But I've now got some decent sort of wet and dry and a pan full of soapy water. So let's give that a bit of a flattening off. Right, so I'm going to start with a bit of 800s and see what happens really. A nice trick if you're flattening stuff off though is before you start, give yourself a little dusting of colour paint on top, and then you can see where you've been. I'm not doing that because I don't want to start opening the paint up and then the only tin of paint I've got is the colour for this car, and then you end up fucking blocking the nozzle up when I come to use it because I'll end up leaving it so it don't work. But that is a trick. And then go to 12s. And I think that's going to be close enough actually for the level of repair that I'm doing. So I need to give this a good wiping off. Yeah, it's nice overspray there. I need to give this a good wiping off, and I'm just going to clean all this off, and then I'll come back. Yeah, that'll do, I think. Got some stone chip as well. So underneath I'm going to run a bit of masking tape and I'm going to stone chip where it was once stone chipped. And obviously this is the stuff you can paint over. And a little trick with an aerosol like this, when you're using it, I only learned this recently actually, and I would have thought that I would have learnt this early on in my lifetime. But if you turn it upside down and then spray it, when you're finished, it just spunks a bit of propellant out of it and clears the nozzle. Who'd have thought? Yeah, seems common sense, doesn't it? Anyway, let's see how this looks. Yeah. Right, so now we've got a bit of stone chip on it, which adds a multitude of sins. Let's mask around it again. And I forgot to pick up some newspapers, so that'll have to do. Now we're rapidly approaching the point where I realise that I have wasted about 30 quid with materials and made it worse. But let's see how it goes. This is like I said, this is the paint matched to the paint code on the car, and well, I'm going to apply some of that and hopefully it will be black, really. I was going to do dust coat first. Yes, wind's blowing it all the way. I'll leave that to dry a minute. And that's a first coat, a nice thin coat. I'm going to try and go against everything I always do. And that's putting too much paint on so it drips off on the floor. So I'm going to put some thin coats on this time. So, time for another one. So that is second coat, and you know what? Doesn't actually look that bad. I mean, I won't say it's like a job I'd be happy to pay for, but it doesn't look horrendous. And I've not even lacquered it yet or put the final coat on, so I'm going to leave it a few minutes, give it one last coat, and I'm going to stick the lacquer on. I think I'm just going to do it wet on wet. Right, so that's a bit drying out, and because it doesn't look too bad, I've decided to maximise my chances of fucking it up by giving it another coat. In the wind. I think I better stop putting it on before I end up with a load of runs in it. Nah, fuck it, let's carry on. Right, that'll do. And now, the fun really starts because, well, get to watch some paint dry. Which leaves us with that, and I'm going to try, as you can see, the prep look is, you know, top line, high quality, but I'm just going to try and blow the lacquer in the same way as I've done with the paint. So let's see how that turns out. I've been shaking this up, by the way. I'm not just going to throw it on without doing that, obviously, not being the professional that I am. Let's start here where it doesn't matter if it goes wrong, just to see how it applies. In the same way as I've done with the base coat, I'm going to give it a nice thin coat first. And then when it's gone tacky, I'll give it another one. So now that's a little bit tacky. Let's give it another, I'll give it a final coat, hopefully, make it shiny. And I think I'm going to leave it at that before I make it worse. As you can see, it's just lovely and shiny, perfect finish, not orange pilly at all. Actually, that doesn't actually look too bad in real life, but what I've done up here is I've sort of blown the lacquer in up to this point here, because well, otherwise we're going to have a dry line on it. So I am going to pull this off. I'm going to try and do this without causing an issue. Yes. Yes. And that is how it's looking back on the ground. Paint's still wet. Gotta wait for it to dry before I can finish the job now. But of course, I wasn't quite content with being sort of moderately happy with it and it looking all right. So I had to, well, I had to add a bit more paint just so that I could create a run. I mean, I did it on purpose so I could demonstrate how to sand off a run, obviously. And after leaving it to dry, this is what I'm left with. I'll show you the run, actually. I've got two that I can see so far. I have got one there, which is pretty faint, actually. And I've got a big one there, which is a shitter. So it's about time I finish this job. So I'm going to take some wet and dry 1200s. Maybe finer would have looked better, or I'm not sure, but 1200 seems to be acceptable. So I'm going to sand this run off, and I've got a sprayer with jizzing up soapy water in it. So I need to put some of that on to lubricate the wet and dry, and I'll wet the wet and dry, and then I'm just going to rub it nice and genitally until the run is sanded off. Something like that. Now I'm going to, rather than go through the paint, because I really don't fancy painting it again, I've been quite tight with this and not using much of it, and if you see there, that's the other run, and I've already got it pretty much all the way off. And what I'm doing is I'm just doing very small movements rather than, you know, because I'm targeting the run as such. Look at this, it's like I'm telling you how to do something that I don't know how to do myself. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to polish the shitter, for which I'm going to use this, which I got with the headlight kit, and some of this, which is just paint and compound shit. So this isn't really something that's going to be that filmable, but if you look there where it's dull, where I've sanded it, I'm going to add some of this, and then I'm going to add some of this, and I'll keep on doing that until it's shiny again, and proceed across all the painted area. Let's wipe it and see how it actually looks. You know what, fuck it, that'll do. It's got a run slightly still in it, if the camera will focus, but it's quite hard to see. You're not going to notice it unless you're looking for it. So that's better than I could have expected or hoped for with my, well, my renowned bodywork skills. Also, the line of the sill isn't quite straight. Also as good or better than I could have hoped for. So I'm quite happy with that, but I'm not finished yet. I've got a couple of things left to do in the first one. I had to remove one of these bungs and pump the shitter full of this. The reason I didn't do that earlier is because I was doing paintwork. I didn't really want wax all around the area that I was going to paint, but I need to do that. So to carefully remove this rubber bung, test the apparatus. Lovely, insert the tip of the nozzle into the hole until it gets all the way in to the testicles, if it'll fit. And then, as pressing the button, slowly remove in a sexual manner. And as you can see, I've put plenty in there, and I'm going to do the same in the other direction. And I've reinserted the bung. This is quite thinner than what I expected, and I've given it a good shake as well. Hopefully it'll dry in a useful manner. At the moment it just looks like rusty water, which will disguise any rust, so it will do something. Right, what else have we got to do? I need to put this back on, which hooks in, something like that. And then obviously, because I did this no sort of expense or time spared or whatever, I didn't take the plastic fitting out, so I'm just going to put a roofing screw in that. Yes! We're getting there now. Right, I've got some wax oil, and as we can see, it does set quite thick compared to how it's coming out. And it's coming out the front, which means that it has gone the full length of the sill, and that is good. What isn't good is that it's all over the floor, so I better get some brake parts cleaner and a rag and clean that up before someone slips and sues me for everything that I don't have. Like that. Now, there's just one thing left to do. And now, we are right back where we started, but with a cleaner car and a better looking sill. So, let's have a quick scan over just how good it looks. And been massively impressed, because it's better than I expected it to be honest with you. But, well, that's all it is really. Anyway, that's all for this one, so don't forget to comment, like and subscribe and all that shit, and I'll see you next time.